Hi everyone, Kevin the Geeky Gamer here. And today I want to talk about I don't want to call it my first initial impressions, but I don't want to call it a review either because I want to talk about Dragon Quest Builders. Now, Dragon Quest Builders is a long game. It's going to be a long time for me to beat it. It is an RPG. It's foremost more of an RPG than it is a Minecraft clone. So it is going to take me a while to beat it, but I have finished the first chapter out of 5 chapters. And that first chapter took me about 10 hours. So I'm saying this is going to be a 50-hour game at most, I think, depending how fast or how quick you beat it. But let's just talk about those first 10 hours then. The first chapter I beat, you do your town, you do your level, you build your quest, you go through several islands, and yeah, you just build your town. And once you finish building your town, you do all the quests, do what all the villagers want you to do, and defend your town through waves of enemies. You get a boss fight at the end. And now I understand now why you cannot build your town larger than what the square is. Now in the game, there is light that shines down on your town, and that shows you how far out you can build. I want to say it's a 40 by 40 grid. I'm not sure. It might be bigger than that, but the point is it's just a square, and you cannot build anything outside of town. If you build any, you can extend your town if you want to, but it will not count towards your points, because stuff that you put in your town counts to your points of your base level. So you can have a base 1 town, base 2 town, etc., etc., etc. So if you build outside of that, it will not add to those points. How do you get points? You just build specific rooms like the stonemason rooms, a kitchen, stuff like that, private bedrooms, a hotel, an inn, a portal room, whatever, right? You just build rooms as you go along through the game, and you take on several quests. Through these quests, you discover different islands to add to your game. And once you beat in a chapter, all those quests, items you built, and materials in different parts of the islands that you've discovered get added to a mode that you unlock after the first chapter. So after you beat in the first chapter, it unlocks a mode where pretty much it is Minecraft. It lets you build whatever you want. And as you build several chapters after that, once you beat chapters 2, 3, and 4, and 5, all that stuff that you've unlocked in each of those chapters gets added to what would you call it, that unlimited mode or the free reign mode, whatever you would call that. The creative mode, where you can build as much as you want. There's still monsters and stuff, and you can build your towns as big and as crazy as you want, and all the islands are unlocked as you beat these chapters. Okay, so that first chapter, you find out that you build your town, you build it all the way up. Now, what happens in chapter 2? In chapter 2, they send you to a new location to build a new town from scratch. Now, that sounds like a big deal breaker for most people. I'm still playing it. I'm still building my second town. I'm already in the second chapter. But what's different? Like, what is it different? How can they make you build a different town but still have the same recipes? That's where the problem lies. In these new worlds, everything's different. You no longer find wood. You don't no longer find other things. They call it different things pretty much. And then you need to learn new recipes to build these new materials into new items. But you still keep your recipes. Like, you will still find common materials like wood and grass and stuff like that. You can still make the basic stuff that you would in the beginning of the chapter 1. But at some point, you're going to find even way different material. Like, let's say in the first chapter, I found copper or platinum, stuff like that, right? And in the second chapter, you find onyx, rubies, etc. And use those to build different looking furniture or different looking walls. And so each chapter has a certain look because not each chapter has the same materials. And they all have a certain look to them. So that's after the first chapter. It unlocks that mode where you can build as much as you want, and anything that you unlocked in several chapters afterwards get added to that mode. It also tells you at the end of the chapter 1 that I don't think it tells you in the beginning of the game at all, that there's special little challenges after you beat in the first game. Like, it will say challenge 1, beat the first chapter in 20 days. It took me 63 days to beat the game, at least that first chapter. So you really need to know what you're doing in those first 20 days of the game, at least for the first chapter. So I kind of like how it does separate the chapters into their own flavors, I guess I would call it. Like, it's pretty much the same thing, except you're gonna fight different enemies, meet different people, and be in different locations. And you might be able to build your town in different ways. Like in the second chapter, you're way more closer to water. So from what I heard, people build moats around their towns. So when monsters come to attack it, they have to go around the water first. Things like that. So you do build them in different locations, and it does look different. And the aesthetics change completely. Like in this new chapter, the ground's more purple because there's poison everywhere. I guess that's the main thing you're trying to defeat in that chapter is to defeat all the miasma from whatever monster that's in charge of that area. Because in the first chapter, you defeat the golem. Now the golem, as you know in Dragon Quest games, is the big rocky guy. This is the same basic golem you've seen in several Dragon Quest games. But in that game, the skies were darkened. You could not see the sun at all. So there was an entire darkened sky. In this game, in the second chapter, there's a miasma, and that's the main point you're trying to do, is to cure the miasma and have villagers come back. Once you've cured the miasma and able to set up defenses and antidotes for that, which I think is pretty cool. If you're looking for a game where you want that progression to start from beginning to end, you're not gonna find it, because every time you switch to a different chapter, it's gonna pretty much reset you down to 0 again, and then build you back up, then reset, build you back up, reset, build you back up. I'm not sure if that's how it is, but from what I've seen, I think that is how it is. So once I beat chapter 2 and then go into chapter 3, I will let you know. But so far, I'm having a really good time with this game, and I love the armors. I love how things change. I love some of the quirky, weird little mini characters that you get, villagers that you get in your town. Each of them has a different personality. Each of them require you certain items, and you meet several little characters throughout the worlds. And these are like quests, but they're not written in your log, which I think is very disappointing, because you could forget certain quests. Like, oh yeah, there is a guy over there that wants me to build him a tombstone and finish his graveyard. Things like that. Similar things like that. I guess you just have to keep a mental note or write it down somewhere. But once you beat those quests, it unlocks more furnitures and more recipes that you can use in the other mode, the creative mode, I guess, the part where you can create as much as you want. So I still recommend Dragon Quest Builders. It's going good. This is not my first impressions, but I guess I'm 1/5 into the game, because I beat the first chapter and I'm already in the second chapter. But I'm still enjoying it. I could see why some people might not like it, because if it's a Minecraft clone, Minecraft never tells you start over, ever. So that could be it. But then again, Minecraft does not really have a guided story. These chapters are specific, and these people are specific. They are telling one cohesive story for this town. And then the next town has a second cohesive story that you're trying to solve. First story is about the darkness. Second story is about the poison that's poisoning this new area. So you have to deal with those issues. So I think Dragon Quest Builders beats Minecraft in that way through the story aspects. But what I find really weird, why keep the creative mode until you beat chapter 1? Because that took me 10 hours to beat. Some people would probably think that, it doesn't have a creative mode, I'm going to return it or give it back because I want to create and just build stuff. But they literally are forcing you to build, complete chapter 1. I can understand why though, because chapter 1 introduces everything. Because once you start chapter 2, you kind of already know what the swing of things are, so you already know what to do. You just got to do it in a different way with different requests and different materials. But chapter 1, I guess, would be the introduction, but that's a hell of an introduction 10 hours in, right? Like, who wants to do that? Why couldn't they have done a tutorial mode, 30 minutes, unlock chapter 1, unlock free reign mode or creative mode? That would have been my suggestion, but obviously I'm not Square Enix, but whatever.
You're not?
I'm not Square Enix, Jesse.
I thought you were.
I thought I was too.
Hey, why you take so long?
I used to work there, down in by LAX.
Why you take so long to make Kingdom Hearts 3? Huh? Get out of here.
We're trying to get 15 out the door first.
That's already out.
But anyways, Dragon Quest Builders, I still recommend it. I still think it's a good game. If you're looking for Minecraft but more story, a guided path, things to specifically do, and a boss fight. The boss fight literally makes you defend your town. I've never seen Minecraft do that or have boss fights and stuff like that. Then again, I'm not much of a Minecraft person. I just know that when things are creative you have to be creative. I don't like to be creative. I just like to be told what to do. And sometimes I'll add my creativeness. Like, you can still be creative in your own way. Like, let's say they tell you to build a kitchen. Okay, I'm gonna build a kitchen, but I'm gonna build it my way. But I know to build a kitchen to progress the story. I like that. I like the fact that they give you guidance, but 2, they let you do it however you want. They just have specific requirements. The kitchen needs to be 2 blocks high, at least, 4 walls, and a cooking fire, a door, and a light source, and a treasure chest. Everything else that's added in there, or whatever else you want to do, or how big it is, that's up to you. So the creative part is still there. So you can change and update your towns, but don't put too much effort into building those towns if you're just trying to play through the story. Obviously, you can take as long as you want, but if, let's say, you want to get through all 5 chapters, try to keep it basic, because you're going to move to the next chapter and it's just going to reset. So everything you did beforehand, it's the town still gets saved. It leaves you off exactly after the boss fight, but before you go through the portal to take you to the next area, to the next chapter. So you can still build that first town and keep expanding if you want. But in order to progress the story, you need to go to the second chapter. But each chapter has a separate save file. So you can always go back to those areas and keep improving them or keep doing whatever you want. And there's still hidden quests in each of those chapters. Like after you beat the first chapter, it tells you, did you beat the 3 dragons? And I'm like, what 3 dragons? I went around, I found 3 dragons. Really hard to kill because I only did 1 damage on it and the HP bar did not move when I hit him. Then I found out you used explosives on them and I killed them. Anyways, Dragon Quest Builder. It is a fun game. It is more guided. If you're looking for something that's more creative and lets you have free reign, this is not the game because you have to beat chapter 1 in order to have that creative mode, and you have to beat several chapters afterwards to keep adding more stuff to the creative mode. Because if you haven't beaten those chapters, let's say you want to build an onyx table or something, right? You need to beat chapter 2 first in order to have it in the creative mode. So, but I'm enjoying it. The story is actually pretty enjoyable. The characters are funny. They've written them in really interesting ways. And the boss battle is actually pretty cool. I never had to do anything like that where you're trying to build while you're protected. And when the boss takes a huge chunk of your time, like, no, I have to build that again. Things like that. But it's really fun. And I really like it. So I still recommend it. I'm going to let you know as I update as I build beat chapters 2 and 3. That's probably when I make my next video. And let you know how it goes. So that's it. Keep go buy Dragon Quest Builders. It's still fun, and it's for the PS Vita and for the PS4. Let me know what you think. Geek out.